Hello everybody, welcome to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition. Even though I'm going to be playing the Stanley Parable the normal way. Well, something like that, who knows. The end is never. It just repeats.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Well, that was interesting. Yeah, what if I don't get up from this chair? But we're gonna be waiting here for a long time. Actually, never mind, we're already out. I was gonna say what. Oh, I already said it. Eh. Seems to. Yep, it is. Yeah.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What is that? I have. What? What's that even? I can't jump.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Okay, let's see. Whatever that is. Oh, what's on this computer? Oh, yeah. So this one's apparently a fodder. What else? Also, for some reason, I'm pressing X. Sounds like a keyboard. I don't know why. Oh. You can't jump. Things are... It's so red. You gotta jump. Oh, goodness. So, there's no jump button. I'm just gonna press, circle. Nothing happens. Sounds like I'm just typing on a keyboard. Hey, let's see. Square, triangle. Oh, I can crouch. I might use it. Actually. So that's the crouch button. It's a bit unusual. I'm trying to figure out that. Can't jump. Wait. So L2 and then R1 are the crouch as well. That seems very strange. Nothing over here. Ooh, forgot to clean up this place. This place is a mess. This door's locked. What about this one? That one's locked. I will test all the doors. That one's locked. This one.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I will touch everything in the office. I'm trying to clean this place pretty well. You know, I'm ruining their hard work by making everything, you know, nothing over here. Nothing over here. Yep. Going over here. Door's locked. There's a ladder in there. Open the door!
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
The door on my left? What if I go in this door?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Let's drive the narrator insane. If I could drive people insane, I could drive a narrator insane. You call this the employee lounge room?
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
I don't have a coin. Stanley's broke. Stanley doesn't have any money.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Can I just open the blinds? No. What if I go over here?
But eager to
More
get back to
doors.
business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Open door on the left. I say, the door in front of me!
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Can I get this door? Still doesn't work.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
What if
There's someone you've been neglecting. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Sorry, I missed on some
All of his
dialogue.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, so did all these.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
This is the correct way to go
Perhaps
to
he
the
wanted to
meeting
stop
room.
by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Stanley did not take the open door on the left. He took the door
Stanley
at the
was
end
so
of the
bad at
hallway.
Following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your
yes,
enemy,
we did.
really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Who the heck is this?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
This door is locked. Yeah, I doubt that's gonna open. What are you even talking about? Narrator. The void.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Hold on. Why is this? Why is this light just swinging back and forth? What if I answer the phone? There's a bright light, apparently. 427.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh,
Yeah,
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Come on. What? I want to take the elevator. You locked all these apartments. If only I had a hammer. There's a mannequin.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Press it. What? Don't worry, employee imports 7. Press any button on your controller.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Press any button.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Alright, what's on TV?
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Oh
the
my.
thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
What?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
What if I don't listen to that? I kind of have to progress further eventually, do I can't really escape there, so...
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Press
and I tried
die.
Again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
I didn't press anything. I didn't press anything. Press the die. I didn't press that button. Okay, so that was one of the endings, apparently. How long has this video gone for? Oh, I got plenty of time. You know what? Let's do the ending where we listen to the narrator, or should I try to do the phone? You know what? Here's a wonderful idea. What if I go back to the room?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, as I was saying, what if I try... Okay, there's like a bunch of ideas I could do. I can use that or that. Yep. I'm gonna go to the, I'm gonna get to the telephone room, and then... Alright, telephone room, and then... What if I don't answer the phone? Unless I'm just trapped there. Alright. Yeah, I'm in the telephone. Telephone room, yeah, don't answer the phone. Let's see what happens.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
This is the
Stanley knew
correct
it
way.
perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Nope.
You need to be the one to do this.
Let me out.
To reach out
Let me
to
out.
her.
Let me
If
out.
you can truly place your faith in another,
I don't
pick
care.
up the phone. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone?
Yep.
That wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
How about no?
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
What? Proceed.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
First of all, who put all these forklifts in here? How did they even get the stack like this? This one's... I just realized, this one's just clipping through the forklift, so... whatever. Who changed up the whole place? You know what? Wait, can I go back in there? I just thought, what if I answered the phone while it was unplugged? Oh, never mind! You should have done that. Ah, man. Oh well.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
What if I get back on this? Nothing. They don't want you killing yourself every time. Yeah, no what? Yeah, that's probably what happened to all the people. That's what I want to say, but who knows? Okay, let's see. Well, the only choice is, I guess I have to go back.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Yeah, you can say that.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You know what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna listen to him.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, Hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Nope. Nope. Open. Open sesame. Oh, it's pretty bugged out. Yeah, some of these yeah, I guess there's cabinets. Why are people littering?
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to.
There.
I have to shut the game down. I have to.
No, you don't.
Have to.
Ah! We're going to the back rooms. Actually, oh, what the?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, I'm not going to that door. I'm going to this door. Can't go for that door. Can't go for this door.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I entered the door on the right.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
All right. You know what? Well, I tried seeing. Well, You can't say I didn't try to see if there was something different, but apparently not. So, let's proceed to the door on the right. The weirdo that wants to speak. The narrator. Doors still that. Oh, everything's normal.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
What? What? Who wrote this presentation? What kind of presentation is this? Everyone is unique. Well, yeah, everyone should be unique. There's no, you're the same person every time. Let's see it. So that's that, okay. It's it just for a second. You gotta change. Oh, there we go. Well, that was something. Is it gonna change again? Oh, yep, there we go. Don't get fired. Wait, talk less, don't get fired. And we're back to this. Like, whose idea? Who wrote this? These pictures of whatever. Broom closet. Maybe the janitor's closet? Whatever. Janitor's closet, broom closet, whatever.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
You know, for a second there, I live in kind of the doorway from The Shining. If anyone's ever heard of that. Sure, not a movie I would not recommend to little children, but nothing there. So no receptionist.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Yeah, I'm looking at this picture. I can't tell. Is that a gun pointed towards a panda? Like, why? Why is there a gun point?
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
What if I don't listen?
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Okay, order fries and chicken nuggets along with a chocolate shake.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
Yeah, he needs a
When
chill.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay?
So this is what Stanley looks like.
Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
The
I
end.
need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is
I'm not in
everything all right?
controls. This is what happens when you eject the soul from a vessel.
The story needs you. It needs you to make
Can't
a
control
decision.
it.
It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Huh? Oh. So that was the, how much time do I have? Okay. Oh, still got some time. What am I thinking? Do I want to continue or not? Hold on. Gotta stay hydrated. You do a lot of speaking, you gotta stay hydrated. It's pretty obvious. Well, that was crazy. So it just rips control. Telephone doesn't even work. Well, time to take the narrator's ending. Not the ending where I just ignored them. Who cares, right?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I was gonna say it's speedrunning time. But who knows?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
It's right there. The choice is down here. What's this on the ground? I have no idea what that says. I don't know what these are. Cardboard box, probably.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other
It's an
strange
infinite
observations.
hallway.
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
I could still walk
I'm
around
through with this dream.
somehow.
I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
I think I found the
am okay.
I think I found the insanity ending. Maybe.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Yep, this is the
And
insanity
everything went
ending.
black.
Oh. Still can't move around.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Here we go again.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
What she did not do. Well, that was the insanity ending as well. Still have time. Well, time for the video, so no more these weird shortcuts or whatnot, or who knows. I don't know.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Well,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
what if I just nope. Oh well.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So, oh, that is executive, whatever that says. What if I go in this room? It's a bathroom. Wait, what? Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisps. So they're eating potato chips as they're getting money. Oh, this was interesting. At least there's soap, hand soap actually. Oh. Yeah, it is a gun. Why do you want to shoot a panda? What did the panda do to you? Like, why? Why? Why do you want to shoot a panda? Oh, so I'm pretty sure it's illegal in several states or countries, yeah.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. Here. So here's a number pad. Now,
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 28. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
oh. Anyone got a flashlight? It's an elevator. Very long loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Mind control facility? Exit. I'll come back to that another time. So, mind control facility.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
How many flat screen TVs are there? Let me know in the comments how many flat screen TVs do you see? Because there's a lot of them. Like, way too many. Nothing over here. Oh, camera.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Well, time to go destroy it. There's a way down here, so not really much to do down here.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
I can't see anything.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Look at that. I'm gonna see if there's a... What if I go back here? No, nothing. Still can't jump.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Best of the game or something like that. Well, that was crazy. So I got the good ending, or something like that. I will probably try to get the other endings another time. So if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys and girls later.